A Literary Therapeutic Companion. Season 1. Identity, Inner Truth and Becoming. Episode 4. The 12 Brothers. A fairy tale about identity, silence and inner strength. Introduction. The quiet power of fairy tales. Welcome to this 4th episode of the Literary Therapeutic Companion. Fairy tales are inner landscapes. They speak in images that reach deeper than explanations. They show movements we recognize, even when we cannot yet name them. The 12 Brothers is a tale about identity, about loyalty, about loss and return, about silence as protection, and about the quiet strength that remains even when the world tests us. It is a story about siblings, about bonds that endure, about the fear of losing someone, and about the question of how we remain true to ourselves when life forces us to change. The brothers flee into the forest. The sister remains silent for 7 years. Both paths are paths of identity. The forest is a symbol of retreat, of self-protection, of inner gathering. Silence is a symbol of loyalty, of clarity, of an inner calling stronger than outer voices. This tale touches something many people know: the moment we must protect ourselves. The moment silence carries us when words cannot. The moment we stay true to ourselves even when no one understands. The moment we feel, I walk my own path. Before we begin, take a breath. In and out. Perhaps you sense a place within you that is not loud, not demanding, not pushing. A place that simply exists. An inner core. A quiet loyalty to yourself. With this space, we begin our journey into the tale of the 12 brothers. Chapter 1. A quiet beginning. The question of inner loyalty. Sometimes an inner journey begins not with a step, but with a silence. With a moment in which something within becomes still, because it seeks protection, or because it hears something that can only be heard in quiet. The 12 Brothers begins with a threat. But beneath it lies a question that concerns us all. How do I remain true to myself when life forces me to change? The king in the tale makes a decision that tears his family apart. A decision born of fear, of control, of the desire to secure power. Many people know such moments. Moments when the decision of others shake our world. Moments when we must protect ourselves because the outside becomes dangerous. The brothers flee into the forest, and the forest is not merely a place. It is a symbol. The forest is the space we enter when we need distance, when we need to gather ourselves when we sense we would lose ourselves if we stayed. Perhaps you know this inner forest. Perhaps you have walked into it because you felt the need to protect yourself. And then there is the sister, a girl who enters the story later and does something many people know. She becomes silent, not out of fear, but out of inner loyalty, out of love, out of clarity, out of a knowing that runs deeper than words. This tale begins with a threat, but beneath it lies a movement we recognize. Inner loyalty is not loud. It is a quiet knowing, I do not abandon myself. Before we continue, let this sentence move gently within you. I walk my own path. With this inner space, we step deeper into the tale. Chapter 2. Why this fairy tale speaks to identity. The 12 Brothers is a tale about identity, about what is ours, what is threatened, and what remains. The brothers do not flee out of fear. They flee out of necessity. They protect their lives and their dignity. The sister walks a different path. She becomes silent. She endures. She remains loyal to her inner calling, even when no one understands. This tale shows two forms of strength: protection through retreat, loyalty through silence. Both are paths of identity. The brothers represent inner forces we may lose and later rediscover. The sister represents the part of us that remains loyal even when we must be silent. Identity is not what we do. Identity is what remains. Perhaps this tale touches something within you, a memory, a longing, an inner movement. With this feeling, we continue deeper into the story. Chapter 3. The Brothers Grimm and the Psychological Depth of Fairy Tales. The Brothers Grimm did not collect fairy tales as children's stories, but as cultural testimonies. They listened to people. They gathered images carried across generations. They preserved words meant not only to entertain but to remind. Many of these tales hold a psychological depth we are only now rediscovering. The 12 Brothers is a tale of inner loyalty to oneself, to one's inner parts, to what lives within. The brothers represent inner forces that can be lost and found again. The sister represents the part of us that remains loyal, even when silence is required. The forest is a symbol of retreat. Silence is a symbol of loyalty. The transformation into ravens is a symbol of loss. The return is a symbol of integration. Fairy tales open a space in which we can remember identity does not disappear. It becomes quiet. It steps back, but it remains. With this understanding, we enter the first reading. Chapter 4. Reading: The Prophecy and the Flight. Before we enter the reading, pause for a moment. This is the moment of family breaks, a moment when fear becomes stronger than love, a moment when children sense there is no place for us here. And yet it is also a moment when something begins, a quiet loyalty, a bond stronger than threat. Reading Passage 1. The Prophecy and the Flight. There was once a king who had 12 sons. They were his pride. But when his wife expected another child, he said, "If it is a girl, the 12 boys must die, so that her inheritance may be great." The queen was horrified. She loved her sons. She could not allow harm to come to them. She called the boys to her and said, "Flee into the forest. Stay there until I give you a sign. If I raise a white flag, a son has been born. If the flag is red, it is a girl, and you must never return." The boys looked at one another. They were young, but they understood. "We will not abandon one another," they said, "whatever happens." And so they fled into the forest. They took only what they could carry. They walked in silence until the trees swallowed them and the world behind them disappeared. They built a hut. They lived on berries and roots. They waited. One day they saw the flag. It was red. They knew a girl had been born. They could never return. They grew quiet. They grew hard. They became young men who had learned that the world is dangerous and that one must protect oneself. But deep within them remained a vow: we stay together. Chapter 5. Interpretation: The inner meaning of the first passage. This passage is a powerful image for an experience many people know. The moment we realize we must protect ourselves. The king represents an outer force, a demand, a threat, a situation we cannot control. The queen represents the inner protector, the part of us that warns, that says, "Go, it is not safe here." The brothers represent inner forces, feelings, needs that must be taken into safety. The forest is the symbol of retreat, the inner space we enter when the outside becomes too loud. Many people know this forest: withdrawing from relationships, falling silent in conflict, avoiding situations that overwhelm, needing solitude to feel oneself again. The red flag is the symbol of loss, the moment we know we cannot return to what was. And yet something remains, a vow, an inner loyalty, a bond that cannot be destroyed. Identity begins here. Identity begins where we do not betray ourselves. Chapter 6. Reading: The Sister and the Silence. Years later, the sister enters the story. She had grown up without her brothers, yet something within her sensed that something was missing. A shadow in her story, a silence in her heart. One day she learned the truth of the prophecy, the red flag, the brothers who had fled. Something awakened in her, a longing, a call, an inner task. She set out alone, guided only by a feeling stronger than fear. She walked through forests, over hills, through dusk and light. She searched. She listened. At last she found the hut. She found the brothers. She recognized them without ever having seen them. But an accident occurred. Through a single moment, the brothers were transformed into ravens. The sister said, "I will free you. I will walk the path required. I remain loyal." She had to remain silent for 7 years. She could not speak. She could not laugh. She could not explain, defend, justify. And so she became silent. Through cold, through loneliness, through danger, through misunderstanding, through accusation, through ridicule. She remained silent because she knew that words could not help, that words would not protect, that words were not what was needed. And when the 7 years ended, the brothers returned, as themselves, as what they had always been. She had freed them through silence, through loyalty, through inner clarity. Chapter 7. Interpretation. The meaning of the sister's silence. The sister's silence is one of the strongest symbols in Grimm's universe. It is not silence born of fear. It is not silence born of helplessness. It is silence born out of clarity, of loyalty, of a knowing deeper than words. Many people know this silence. The silence that protects, the silence that heals, the silence that allows inner work, the silence that says, "I know why I walk this path." The transformation into ravens is a symbol of loss, of inner parts becoming inaccessible. The 7 years of silence symbolize inner work, a process that takes time, that cannot be rushed. The return of the brothers symbolizes integration, the recovery of inner parts that seemed lost. This tale reveals something essential. Identity is not created by words. Identity is created by loyalty, by inner clarity, by a path only we can walk. Chapter 8. Practical Impulse. The inner path of loyalty. Sometimes the return to oneself begins not with a decision, but with a quiet pull. A subtle inner movement that says, "This is where I continue." The sister follows this pull. She does not know where it leads. She does not know how long it will take. She does not know what it will demand, and yet she walks. Many people know this moment, the moment something within says that a path has begun, that it is not loud, not visible, not easily explained. A path that forms from within. If you wish, you may ask yourself 3 questions today. First, what within me waits to be seen? A feeling, a wish, a part long in shadow. Secondly, what within me needs space to unfold? A thought that returns, a longing you have ignored, an inner calling that whispers. Thirdly, what small step brings me closer to myself? Not the dramatic gesture, not the radical change. A small step, a breath that belongs to you. A sentence that rises from within. A decision that feels warm. Identity grows through nearness, through turning toward oneself, through loyalty to what lives within. Chapter 9. Meditation. The inner space of loyalty. If you wish, make yourself comfortable. Find a posture in which you feel supported. Breathe in and slowly out. Feel the ground beneath you. Feel your body. Feel that you are here. Imagine entering an inner space, a space meant only for you. A space that is warm, quiet, wide. Perhaps you see the space. Perhaps you sense it. Perhaps it forms as you enter it. Everything is welcome. In this space there is a path, a narrow trail, beginning close to you. It is clear. It is quiet. It belongs to you. Walk one step along this path in your own rhythm, in your own way. With each step you may sense something within, a gentle rising, a warmth, an inner brightness. This path leads to your inner core, the place within you that knows who you are, that feels what matters, that senses what carries you. Say inwardly, I walk my path. Breathe in and out. Then say, I am important to myself. Perhaps you feel something gathering within, something aligning, something clarifying. Remain here for a moment in this nearness to yourself, in this loyalty to your inner path. When you are ready, return gently with a breath, a small movement of the hands, a soft opening of the eyes. The path remains. It is within you. Chapter 10. Closing moderation. The return to the self. Perhaps you still sense something of the inner loyalty we touched today. A warmth, an echo, a quiet knowing. The 12 Brothers reminds us that identity does not disappear. It may withdraw. It may transform. It may wait. But it remains. The brothers return. The sister remains loyal. The path leads through silence, through darkness, through inner work, and yet it leads back to what we are. In the next episode, we turn to another story of identity, with different images, a different movement, and different inner landscape. Until then, may the quiet truth within you accompany you. Gentle note on further content. If this episode supported you, you will find more impulses, texts, and small literary companions on my channels. You will find deeper offerings, rituals, companion texts, exercises, and exclusive formats. You are invited to linger or be inspired. Everything is created with the same care as this episode.